Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Birch and Lily, where I talk about all of the crafty goodness that I've been up to over the past couple weeks. Welcome, today is September 20th and this is my messy craft room. It is on the list to clean tomorrow. But yeah, today we have a regular podcast episode. I'm going to be jumping through all of the things I've been working on over the past 2 weeks, and I hope you're excited to join me. Before we jump on into that though, there are a couple places you can find me on the internet. I feel like the list gets longer every day, but my website is birchandlilyfiber.com. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at birch.and.lily, and you can find me on Ravelry and Lovecrafts as Birch and Lily. Everything will be linked down below. I'm running out of space on the screen to put all of that stuff, but I will make sure it's all linked below in the description for you, as well as any of the information you might need about any of the projects that I work on today. So I have 2 finished objects, which are both shawls, which is insane. So let's jump on in. So we'll start with this shawl, mostly because this is a secret test knit that I'm doing and I cannot show you the project, but the shawl is done, and I thought I would show you the yarn that I did use for this project. Actually, I wound up 2 balls of Surrey alpaca for this, and I ended up not needing to use them both, which is kind of exciting, but now I have an extra wound ball of Surrey that I will find something to use for, I'm sure. But the main color that I was using for this project is from Sweet Fiber. This is called Paper Birch, and it is, what base is this? I believe it's an 80-20. Yes, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. Beautiful, neutrally, kind of leaning cool gray. Let's see. There. That's actually quite accurate to what it looks like. And then the color that I was using with it is this beautiful Surrey alpaca base. This is from Sugarplum Circus, and the colorway is called Sea Glass, I believe. I'll double check. Yes, it's Sea Glass. So I was holding this Surrey here double with the regular 80-20 base, and it looks so pretty, and I wish I could show you guys, but I can't because it's a secret test knit. But it's done and I'm excited. I haven't blocked it yet, but I will be hopefully doing that within the next week or so. So, like I said, the other project I finished was also a shawl, which is insane. And the even crazier thing about this is last episode I showed this to you and I was like, yeah, I really want to work on this. And then I finished it, which I'm excited about. So this is my Luminaria Shawl. It's a pattern by Lindsay Fowler of Larkspur Knits. I have it in this gorgeous Birch Grove bag here. And I haven't blocked this yet either, so I thought it would kind of be fun to show you guys this project unblocked, and then next episode I can show you what it looks like when it's blocked. Because I think a lot of people don't realize how important blocking is for your knits. If you don't know what blocking is, basically it is soaking your project in some water, or you can steam it as well, and it just helps all the stitches lay even and so much prettier, and the project usually grows a little bit and relaxes and drapes really nice, and yeah, it's definitely worth the time that it takes to do. But yeah, I will show this to you now unblocked, and then next episode I'll show it to you blocked and you can kind of see the difference. But let's slide back a bit. Look how absolutely gorgeous this is. Oh my goodness, I think this is the favorite, or like my favorite project ever that I've ever knit. So yeah, this is the Luminaria Shawl. The main color that I used in here, so basically the sort of creamy color that is there in all of the checkeredness. What is this pattern called? Tartan? Plaid? But that cream color in there, that is from Woolberry Fiber Co. on their berry cashmere base. I can't remember the exact content, but it is merino and cashmere. There may be a little bit of nylon in there as well. And then the rest of the beautiful colors throughout here, these are all from a Anne of Green Gables themed advent, like mini advent from Hooker's Corner. And so I just kind of faded them in and out. I started with the reds and moved into the more like taupey creamy colors, into the blues and purples, and then I completely flipped it and went back the opposite way is basically what I did. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. And then what is really going to show once I block this shawl, I'll see if I can show you a couple pieces of it here, is this beautiful lacy border. So when I block this, I'm going to pin everything out. It will open up all of this lace here on the edge, and then there actually is, I don't know if you can tell there, a little picot border. So blocking will also help that lay really nicely as well. Actually, let me show you. This is my second Luminaria shawl that I've knit, which is a shocker. I don't think I've ever knit something else twice. Actually, no, I've knit a pair of socks twice, and I'm blanking on the name of it. This is the first Luminaria shawl that I knit, and you can see how the border of it looks after you block it. And just how the whole shawl in general lays. It really, sorry, I'm trying to, like, you can obviously tell this is much bigger than the other one I showed you because it really grew and it opens everything up and it lays so nice and pretty. I can't for the life of me remember which yarn I used for this. I think the main color is from Autumn and Indigo, and it was a one of a kind. And then all of these minis were from my Woolberry Fabric Co. 2020 Christmas Advent. But yeah, that gives you an idea of what it'll look like once it's blocked. But I will still make sure next episode I show you how much this beautiful shawl has opened up. So I did everything to like what the pattern called for this shawl, and for the previous one I just showed you, the other Luminaria. I used a US 6 needle, which is a 4mm, and I'm really happy with that, especially because this pattern uses a lot of slipped stitches. It is a mosaic knitting pattern. Basically that means, here I'll show you the back. Instead of with color work where you'd have a lot of floats, here you're basically just skipping certain stitches and then knitting them in the next row so that you get the patterning. That's the back side of it. And then, yeah, that's the front again. But yeah, it's all mosaic knitting, and so I think I wouldn't, I think I knit the other shawl with the exact same needle size too, the US 6, but I'm really happy with that. It just gives it lots of room for the stitches to move, but the fabric still doesn't look too loose, if that makes sense. So yeah, that is all I have to say so far. I'm sure I'll have more to say once I have this all blocked, but I'm so excited to wear this. The colors are just so fall-like and beautiful, and I love it so much. I'm so happy. And I can't believe that after I said, yeah, I wanted to work on that I just finished it. I don't think I realized how close I was to the end of it until I pulled it out and I was like, oh, I really don't have that much left. Why has this been sitting for so long? So yeah, excited to get that blocked, and I'm actually going to take that project bag and put something that I started into it now that I've showed you guys, because it's the largest project bag I have, and this new project I've started, which I'll show in a little bit, needs a big project bag. But yeah, that is both of my finished objects. I'm so excited, and I do have, actually I have a couple new works in progress and then some that you have seen before as well. So let's start with a new one. This project bag here is from Tiny Human Knits, and I actually really love this strap on there for knitting when I'm like going places, because it hangs off of my arm perfectly, and then I can be like knitting from the bag while I'm standing. I don't have to be sitting and knitting. Love these bags. Love the strap. Now it's stuck on my hand. But this project here, the pattern I'm using is called the Cirrus Socks. It's from Curious Handmade, and I believe it was part of one of her handmade sock societies. May have been 3 or 4. I don't fully know. But I will link the pattern down below, so all good. I am knitting this out actually out of some of my yarn from my most recent update. Shameless plug, there is still some yarn left on the website, so if you thought you missed out, definitely go check it out. I have some of the skeins still up for pre-order. I'll probably leave those up for a couple more days on pre-order, and then I will close that. But I am using here, this skein of yarn is called Heirloom Pumpkins. It's a fingering weight and 80-20, so 80% super wash merino, 20% nylon. Here's the cake. I'm having a hard time centering on the screen today. Super fun and fall-like heirloom pumpkins. But But yeah, I'm knitting the Cirrus Socks out of this. I pulled a skein for myself because I liked it. And they're really pretty. There's the patterning. It's really simple, but I like it because this colorway definitely is a little bit busier. So this doesn't, I don't know, the pattern's simple enough that you can still see it. It doesn't get hidden in behind the colorway, if that makes sense. I cast on 64 stitches for this pair of socks on a 2.25mm needle. That is a US 1. I did the call for 2x2 rib on the cuffs, so basically what that is knit 2, purl 2, all the way around. That's my preference for a cuff. I find it's the stretchiest and it looks the neatest, at least with the way that I knit. So that's usually what I tend to do. And yeah, 64 stitches. I have started putting in the heel flap. I find I really get momentum on the leg of the sock, and then the moment I hit the heel flap, I slow down and I just put it down and don't want to work on it for a while. I don't know why. Really enjoying these. These will probably be a Christmas gift is the plan. Did I cast on? No, I cast on 56 stitches for these. Yeah. I have noticed lately, don't know why, but my knitting has really loosened up. And so this looks how a regular 64 stitch sock for me would have looked a year ago, but this is 56 stitches. So it still will be a gift, but I don't know. I don't know what I've changed in my knitting that has made it so much looser, but my knitting is looser now. My tension has changed, I guess. So I cast on 56 stitches for this sock. I'm sorry. Still did a 2x2 rib though, and I'm following the pattern to a T. Curious Handmade patterns are awesome. They are literally written out row by row by row. So if you're new to sock knitting, I would highly recommend giving one of her patterns a try, because there's literally no way for you to miss something because it's written all out for you. The patterns are long. I recommend only printing out the pages you need for your size, but it's very hard to mess up because it's written out plainly in front of you. So great patterns, really pretty, liking it a lot. And yeah, I'm gonna keep working on this, and I like socks still. I don't know. Really pretty, really fun. And like I said, shameless plug, there is still some yarn left on the website. If you want to skein Heirloom pumpkins, there's a couple skeins left. Okay, I do have one cross stitch project that I put a little bit of work into, not tons, but I thought it would show it still. This project bag is from Pretty Southern, and I have a Saviour's Praise by Shakespeare's Peddler in here. This is a never-ending project, and I will probably be working on it for a long time to come, but that's okay. I love it. It's really fun. I'm using all of the called for threads for this. It's a mix of Anchor and Weeks dye works. And these, I don't know, I haven't said in a while, I think, but these floss rings here, I just ordered them off of Amazon. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like a flexible, actually, if you're a knitter, they feel like a circular needle cable, honestly. But I really like those to hold my threads and keep them all organized. And I am stitching this up on 40 count Beach Brew. I'm stitching it one thread over 2 linen threads. And yeah, I really don't know what, I think I've worked some on the left-hand side, your left-hand side, a little bit. And, oh, actually I have worked on the right a little bit too. I've only worked on the border in the past little bit. I haven't done anything on the words, anything like that, just the border. Nothing crazy, so I won't hold this up too long, but really enjoy, they're not straight, really enjoy this project. And like I said, it's a big one. It's going to be something I'm working on for quite some time, but I haven't made any mistakes, which for a while there, I swear I was making mistakes on every single cross-stitch project I was working on, but I haven't made any mistakes that I've noticed so far. Fingers crossed. So yeah, really enjoying this still, obviously. And one day I'll finish it, one day. So another new project that I have is a new shawl cast on. This is actually, I think, the first Stephen West pattern I've knit. And I am using up a bunch of yarn that I had in my stash. I know they're from Farmer's Daughter Fibers, but they didn't come with ball bands. I don't know why. I ordered them as a set, probably in 2018. And they didn't come with ball bands, so They've just been kicking around, and I decided to use them for a dotted raised shawl. I am using the pattern that he has available. I think it's called the speckled fade version, so it gives you different options of how to fade the yarn because this set is meant to be a fade. So I guess I can show you the yarn before I jump into it too much. So I have really tiny hands, and oh, I can hold it up. So this is the fade. So I've started out with the shade on the far right there, the really deep purple, and then it fades into some really pretty blues, aqua-y sort of colors. So this is the yarn I'm using for it, and I have obviously wound up the first 2 skeins, and I passed on, and I haven't done tons. I've only worked on this one night. We were watching the finale of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and this was my, I don't know if I would call it a comfort project, but this is what I worked on. So here we go. This is the start of my speckled or dotted raise, not speckled fade. This is my dotted raise. It's a really neat pattern composition, but like really, really simple too. It's not hard to follow at all. There's nothing crazy. It's garter stitch, which I love. It's squishy, which I love. So I did not do a gauge swatch for this. I just went for it. I don't care that much with a shawl, to be honest. If it was a sweater, I would care a little bit more because if it turns out too big, it would look silly. On me, at least. But with a shawl, if it turns out too big, I'm not gonna know anyways. So I am using, let's see, Chowgu US 4 3.5 millimeter needle. That is what the pattern has called for. And the yarn I'm using, like I said, is from Farmer's Daughter Fibers, and this is a singles base. I did not take the time to look up what their singles base is comprised of, but most single bases are usually 100% superwash merino, and then they're just a single ply. So that's what I'm assuming this is as well, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm very proud of myself. That's a pretty stretchy I-cord for me. So the whole edge of the pattern, if you don't know what an I-cord is, it's like, I don't know, it looks kind of like a tube, but not really. I don't know how to describe that, but that's an I-cord on the edge there. And I have a hard time keeping them stretchy. So this is pretty stretchy, and I'm pretty proud. But yeah, I don't think I have much else to say about that. If you have questions, you can ask me down below. There are a lot of short rows in this pattern. That is something else I meant to say. There are a lot of short rows in this pattern, but the pattern has a easy way of doing them, so it's not as complicated as a regular short row. Usually with a short row, like you'll knit the one way, and then when you go back, you have to like finish each stitch where you did like a wrap and turn or something. With this, you don't have to, and I like that a lot because I'm lazy, and the easier it is, the better it is for me. The easier it is, the better it is for me. I don't know. The less I have to think, the better. Then I can watch my TV show a little bit better without having to count so much. So, dotted raise, really excited to work on this and see everything fade. Because the colors of yarn that this is going to be, they're like my favorite colors in the whole world. So, very excited. And I'm going to move this over into the bag that my Luminaria was in. And I have one final project that I've worked on a little bit, another pair of socks. This bag is from Studio in the Green. Very cute. And like I said, another pair of socks. This pair you have seen before. These are the Bear Mountain socks by Pip and Pin. And if I can get this untangled, because never fails, all of my knitting projects are always tangled. I shove them in the bag and I don't do it neatly. Here we are. So I have knit from where that lobster clasp is connected there. So just a little bit. I've been working away on decreasing the gusset on these, as I did do. These are shorty socks, but I did a heel flap and gusset on them. That is my preferred heel for a pair of socks, to be honest. I just like the way it fits. But this pattern is written to be like a mid-calf length sock, and I just omitted that and did a shorty sock. Basically, all you have to do for that is knit the cuff and go straight into the heel flap, and then start doing the pattern as called for, and you get a pair of shorty socks. So if I hold these closer, yeah, you can see the color better. There is Selena in this yarn, beautiful yarn. This is from Maker's Haven. They are no longer dyeing, unfortunately. But yeah, this is a stellina base, so superwash merino, nylon, and stellina. And this colorway is called the Chirp of Crickets. And I'll give you a closer look at the pattern as well. These socks are really cute. The pattern repeat is not long at all. There are a couple stitches in there that might be a little complicated for a beginner knitter, but still nothing that I think you'd be able to figure it out. Just take a little bit of thinking at the beginning, so definitely don't count these out if you are newer to knitting. They're really cute and I like them a lot. So 64 stitches for this pair of socks on 2.25 millimeter needles, a US one, and I did 5 rows of 1x1 twisted ribbing for the cuff. So yeah. And that is what I've worked on over the past 2 weeks. I did want to say before I go, thank you to everyone that was so kind on my last podcast episode, with me wanting to switch back to doing bi-weekly episodes. I appreciate you so much for being so kind about that and understanding, and I really feel renewed. Like, I think if I would have had to record last week instead of this week, I would not have had everything finished that I did. So that's been really good because I was feeling quite burnt out with knitting, and knitting is supposed to be fun and it's my hobby and I don't want it to make me sad. So thank you so much. And again, like I said, if you're interested, no pressure. There is still some yarn left on birchandlilyfiber.com. I will disclaimer here as well, because I think some people don't realize that the price you see on the website is in Canadian funds. So when you convert that over, I think it's, let's see, it's $38 in Canadian funds, and I think it comes out to about 28 or 29 in US dollars. So don't be scared of the price on the website. I worry that people are scared of the price. I don't know. Besides the point, doesn't matter, but if you're interested, check out the website, even just to scroll through, because it makes me happy when I see that people have been on the site, even if they didn't purchase anything. I don't know. It's still exciting. But yeah, if you like what you saw today, I'd love if you consider subscribing and hitting the like button, and I will see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks again. Bye.